Saunders Island would be by far the most remote place I have ever stayed. I gazed out of the window, fascinated. A truly rugged and unforgiving landscape, where large rocks flow like rivers, a consequence of the Ice Age, and otherwise beautifully barren, in part to its harsh weather where not even trees dare grow. I knew Saunders would be a truly remarkable place with an abundance of fascinating wildlife. 33,000 acres large, with over 60 miles of coast to explore. There was no chance I could see it all. And when I arrived, only 4 people were on the island, including myself. 3 once the pilot took off. Welcomed by the 2 owners, I was driven north of their settlement. First descending to take in beautiful panoramic views. Before a further overland descent, finishing 5 miles away at a cabin named the Rookery. I was completely on my own, but the cabin had everything I needed, and I wasted no time going for an explore. I knew exactly where I wanted to head, but first, right outside the cabin, I was greeted by thousands of nesting birds, all along the coastline as far as I could see. One of the nesting species is famed for its huge wingspan and a Fleetwood Mac song, but I'd never seen one before and was excited to be able to get up close to this impressive bird. The Albatross. The Black-Browed Albatross is not as large as the wandering albatross, which holds the record for wingspan, but at between 7 to 8 feet it is still an impressive bird, and with its striking black brow against its pure white head makes them look very distinguished, I think. Unlike its chicks. The cute grey fluffy chick's nest is a solid pillar of mud up to half a metre tall, where the chick will remain put, only leaving a few days after they are abandoned by their parents. I carried on and was quickly greeted by 2 curious Striated Caracara, happy to pose for me regally on a rooty stump. After a little lapse of time, and fearful they were conspiring against me, I headed down the cliff edge to my intended destination. It was packed. I'd never had so many shags in one place. The Imperial Comorant, or shag, covered the cliff route down. Beautiful birds with piercing blue eyes, they were not at all concerned with my presence, and I felt rather rude negotiating through their expansive colony, trying to keep my distance, but often becoming surrounded. But they had bigger concerns, trying to feed their young. Their stomachs were full of krill, and the skuas knew it. The skuas would wait patiently for a returning adult, and watch till it started to feed its chicks, and then immediately harass both parent and young, breaking their feed and spilling the contents, to be quickly stolen, time and time again. I descended further down the rocky cliff, continuing past the masses. The albatross chicks were waiting for their returning adults, preparing themselves for a life at sea, catching the cool wind and stretching their already huge wings that would carry them countless miles across the vast ocean. And with a little help in direction, I'd finally made it to the spectacle I wanted to see. Right, so today you join me on Saunders Island. I flew out this morning on the FIGAS plane. It's about 33,000 acres in size, so it's pretty big, but I'm the only one staying here tonight, bar the two owners, who are about 5 miles south in what they call the settlement. I came on here specifically to see some albatross, the Black-Browed Albatross, and as you can see they're nesting all the way along this cliff edge. And I've just come out of the place I'm staying called the Rookery, down to here, which is called the Rockhopper Shower. And as you can see behind me there, there's a boulder and there's water running off it, and it creates a small waterfall, and the rockhoppers coming out the salt water to rinse themselves off, and also when the sun comes out they're in there cooling themselves down. And it's really spectacular to see. Sitting directly above the Rockhopper Shower were more albatross chicks. The adults are far less graceful on the land than they are on the wind, nodding their heads as though acknowledging their clumsiness. And although it is easy to laugh at them, watching them walk around as though wearing clown shoes, but I imagine with their generous webbed toes it would be no small feat. And as they make their final approach, they make no consideration for myself, and rightly so. But the size and sheer scale of their wings on the horizon, although impressive, can be quite intimidating, often coming within inches of my head. Right, well, so that was pretty incredible, but I think I'm getting burnt. The sun wasn't meant to be out today. I've been sat down there for quite a few hours, and just the other side of where I'm staying at the Rookery there's a lovely little beach, so I'm going to try and get back now before the sun goes in and before it gets too late. Get down to the beach. They've got some Magellanics and some Gentoos down there, and maybe if I'm feeling brave I might even go for a swim. Yes sir, can I help you? Check out this beach all to myself, well, and a few thousand penguins. As soon as I arrived at the beach, I spotted a red-backed hawk tucking into a penguin. Turkey vultures were lingering overhead, occasionally swooping down. The last thing I wanted was to scare him off his meal for the vultures to take over. and so I kept my distance. But to my surprise, he kept flying the corpse closer to me. It was an absolute treat. This will likely be the closest I will ever get to a hawk in the wild.
In the time it's taken me to get down here and film that hawk, the sun's gone in. It's gone a bit cold. I had to put layers back on, and it actually looks like it's going to rain in a minute. So I don't think I'm going to be going for a swim, although I may still be getting wet by the looks of it. We're just coming up with some penguins.
The beach was busy with Gentoo penguins doing what they do best. Generally flapping, running about and being amusing. You never see a penguin wearing goggles. Instead, they have a flattened cornea to help refract the light, and lens-altering eye muscles that enable them to focus above and below the water. This is protected by a shield-like, clear, nictitating membrane. Actually, it might surprise you to know, we have the same third eyelid, but ours unfortunately is vestigial and no longer fully functioning. A real shame, in my opinion. Mixed amongst the Gentoo and now out of their burrows, the Magellanic chicks were all huddled together like 10 pins, doing well not to get bowled over. Or more like 30 pins in this case. But their downy feathers are now molting to the wind. The next stage, I suppose, before going to sea.
So I didn't go for a swim. It was too cold. I'm cold now, I'm not even in the water. But I did notice a bunch of penguins in the distance, so we just came inland a little bit to see what they were. Yeah, we seem to have quite a variety. So we have a king penguin there. These are all Gentoo. Some little Magellanic there, sticking their heads up. Then we have this. Hello. Don't pretend like you weren't sneaking up on me. So, there is a cow sniffing my camera right behind you. Do you mind, mate? I'm trying to film some penguins actually. No! Ah, you made it all sloppy.
Up early at the crack of dawn to hike the hill behind the cabin where I was staying. The freshest of air filled my lungs as I peered north across to Keppel Island. I contemplated, watched the sun rise and admired the beautiful views. There was no one else here except me. I descended back down. Looking out to sea, I watched distant whales, giving themselves away with the occasional burst of water spraying far up into the air. What a truly unique place and experience this had been.
Right, my lift's going to be here soon, so I need to get down the hill. But thank you for watching this episode, and if you've enjoyed it, please do check out the previous episodes if you haven't already. The Falklands has been an amazing place. The people are amazing, the place is amazing,
and the wildlife is amazing, so I definitely recommend it to anybody. Yeah, until the next time, I will see you later.